Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Carry Podcast, episode 44 today, and excited to continue the conversation with you today. And we are coming to you now for the first time since the shutdown of the government. And as of yesterday, the orders were signed to get the government going again. So welcome back, America.
The world is saved.
Yeah,
we
right.
are all...
You know,
utopia is here.
Here's the thing, not to make light of anybody who struggled through it, like any service members that had to have some pay that they weren't getting paid. Obviously, feel for you and anybody who works for the country in a law enforcement capacity, in a military capacity, and in some of those essential capacities. Yeah, you should definitely be getting paid. But at the same time, I'm very much an advocate for small government, and we don't have that. We have a massive government.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of people getting paid for jobs that really aren't making any difference for any positive result in our country. So I say that just to say, whenever we kind of make a little bit of light of the government shutdown and kind of poking at it that the world's not really saved and it's not really going to make that big of a difference now, well, the reason being is because what really changed? Did anybody go, this is going to be a loaded question, isn't it? But did anybody really starve to death during the government shutdown? There was some people who maybe had to pinch some pennies to get a meal, but did you eat?
Yeah, I didn't see any stories. What's it? From 30 seconds holding your breath, pretty bad. 3 days without water, 30 days without food. I don't think anybody didn't eat for 30 days.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, and I'm not trying to be funny. Like things got frustrating and tight for some folks. But things are frustrating and tight for a lot of folks when the government is running. So, it goes back to the old adage. I'd have to read it. I would like to not be taxed on the car that I already bought, on the road that I've already been taxed on my house that I've already paid for, all the different taxation. Look, we all have expenditures and struggles, and I genuinely don't make light of it. My little girl's overseas serving. First thing I said to her is, "Hey, is the thing affecting you?" She's like, "Dad, I got mission-centric orders. The last thing I'm worried about is the government opening back up. It'll open back up. I've got a budget, money sitting on the side. Be responsible. Make sure when you have an emergency. I mean, every family should have this.
Yeah,
every family should have some kind of fallback. I get it. Life's expensive. I'm not trying to take from anybody, but my wife got, 2 types of cancer. We burned through our emergency funds pretty quick, over and above what healthcare didn't take care of, and then we got bills, and then you pay for them. So things are going to happen is the point, and it's, there's a degree of personal responsibility, and then there's the people that just feed off of the government, and I think people are tired of that.
Oh, we have to get tired of that. We can't. The thing is there's been obviously, and it's going to be kind of controversial a little bit with the food stamps that have been cut and whatnot, but at the end of the day, the government should have never been relied on to feed people. And
certainly not 5th generation.
No, it should have been.
I mean, I totally get hard luck. And I lived it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
We had food stamps. We were poor town Kentucky. My dad was it was 3 something an hour. My mom worked at a shirt factory for, I think it was $2 an hour. Husband and wife making just under $6 an hour. Of course, this is early mid 1970s. Stop and think about that, right? So yeah, we had subsidy. We went down and got our cheese block. I remember my mom getting physical food stamps you go to the store with. But it lasted a couple of years of our life and half a generation, then it was removed. So you grow up and you move on. We got people that are 5th, 6th, 7th generation welfare recipients that have never had a job in their life and never paid a tax in their life, griping about what the government's not giving them. So, I don't have hate to say it, I just don't have a lot of sympathy for that. I have a lot of sympathy for somebody who's broken and destitute and is doing their level best and can't get head above water. They're just treading water all the time. That is totally different. Totally different to me than somebody who's just sponging.
Oh yeah, there's a huge difference between helping and enabling. We don't want to, if we're really trying to help somebody, we're not just going to enable them to continue to scrape the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
We're going to get them on their feet, get them brushed off, get them working,
get them out of the foxhole, man.
Where they're heading toward building a decent life. But the problem is the government, This is just the way that I think everybody should really start to look at it if you haven't already. There was local businesses here that started giving people out food if they needed food, if they were relying on food stamps. And that's awesome. And that's the way that it should have been from the beginning, is that the government's not in charge of giving people food. Why? Because at the end of the day, the government has always done an absolutely poor job of managing our tax dollars. We don't need to be giving tax dollars for the government to feed people. We don't need to be giving tax dollars for the government to even be solving homeless problems. You know why? Because they're not solving any problems.
Yeah.
It really should come down to the government doing the bare minimal, essential government responsibilities, and everything else falling on the community.
Yeah.
Communities taking care of each other. And some communities obviously do a poor job of that. Some of them do better than others. But if we really push in that direction and dollars are put into the economy to help businesses be able to do better rather than tax dollars just be forced to be paid toward these programs for people to have these food stamps and other ways that they get paid from the government whenever they're living on welfare. If those monies were put into the economy and put into small businesses, big businesses, even some of these charities or nonprofits, there's a very, very good chance I'm advocating for that the money would be put to better use to actually feed the people that are hungry.
Yeah.
Rather than the government trying to do it.
Yeah, and if you look at the government expenditure list, just pull anything up online and just look and see where the government money goes. Between national defense and social programs and infrastructure and law enforcement, just there's a graduating scale. You can read it top to bottom, and you'll see. I mean, it's staggering the amount of money that we hand out on recipient programs that are generational. That to me needs to end. Not just because of the waste of the money. I mean, actually significantly more important is you're keeping people. You're keeping people pinned down when you do that. There's no opportunity for somebody to get out from underneath that system when they're raised in that system. I did law enforcement in South Carolina, poor project housing communities. Generational curse is what we used to call it down there. They're born into it. Can't get out from underneath it, raised in it. They go out, they commit crime, and the next thing you know, there's labels attached. But for the ones that leave, escape, get out, call it what you want. The vast majority of anybody that I ever met that got out of that system thrived. The people that stayed in it, same problem, residual. I sat down and I watched an episode yesterday. I don't know the name of it. I don't know the number of it. I can tell you it was Steven Crowder, and I can tell you he was sitting in a all-black barbershop somewhere inner city having this amazing Steven Crowder conversation about fatigue, be it black fatigue, be it feminism fatigue, be it lesbian fatigue, be it liberal ideology fatigue, be it fill-in-the-blank welfare fatigue. People are just tired. And it was a great conversation because there was a lot to go back and forth. There's probably 15 dudes in this barbershop, and it was some really good open dialogue. And there were points made both directions. The thing that I appreciated is, one, Steven went in and sat down and talked with grown men about grown man issues. And whether they agreed or disagreed with each other, there was a consensus, one, to get along, two, to actually delve into it for what it is, as opposed to just finger pointing and blaming. Like, Steve would bring up a point, another guy would counter a point. Then they come back and they would find some degree of common ground on it. And I think we need a lot more of that. Stats tend, I go to them sometimes, but I think stats tend to tell the truth for the most part. You can't just totally ignore a stat, but sometimes they get skewed. And depending on who's inputting the stats and what the topic is. What I enjoyed about this is he didn't just go in, Steven didn't just go in with a bunch of percentages and sit down and say, you're wrong. He went in and say, hey, here's what the stats are showing. What do you think? From your perspective, you're here, you're living this. What do you think? And I think we need more of that because I think people are tired. I think people turn on the news and they go, here we go again. So I got to watch another person stabbed on a subway by a dude that's been let out by the criminal justice system 14 times, has felonies, and he's let out because of initiatives that are race-related initiatives we're not going to bond, we're not going to hold them to account, then they're going to go out and commit a crime, then we're going to do the same thing all over again, and now we're wash, rinse, repeat 14 times, and now somebody dies, and now we're going to do something about it. And that's what people are tired of. That's the fatigue word. And I know it's a trendy word right now, but this has been going on for 30 years. This isn't something new. It's just that term has been attached to it. Lesbian, it's your call. I believe in Jesus. I believe in salvation. I believe in the Bible. But at the end of the day, if that's your thing and you want to go do it, I'm not going to come over and Bible thump you for it. I just don't want you to come over and lesbian thump me for it. I don't want to sit back and have to agree with your agenda. And if I don't, I'm sexist or homophobe or what, like, why can't I just be a person going through life? And let you be a person going through life. We talked about it with a cake thing. If you like the guy's cake so much, go buy the cake and then put your own figurine on top and get that cake that you wanted. Why go sue a guy because he won't put the figurine on top? Like, I mean, it's stuff like that I think people are so tired of, and we got to delve into this stuff and really kind of dissect it for what it is. And that's where I think the stats start coming to life. We're just seeing it. So you got like 5% of the population committing significant amount of the violent crimes, and people are tired. They're tired. They're just tired. They're tired of seeing it on TV. They're tired of seeing it in person. They're afraid to go out. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I went to Denver. I used to love going downtown Denver. We'd go down to the 16th Street Mall. We'd go down to see a game. We'd go hang out. You couldn't pay me to go to Denver right now. There's no reason to. I have no desire, no drive to go down into that cesspool. And I realize it. People live there. People got to work there. I get it. But at the same time, it's my choice. I choose to not do it. The reason I choose to not do it is because I don't like it. I don't want anything. It wears me out. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. If I want to go sit down at a restaurant with my wife and have a nice meal and walk around, hold hands, and go to the shops, I want to be able to do that without being beat down, approached, or called something. And the last time I was down there, that's all that happened. And I went, yeah, this is stupid. I think people are tired.
I think that you're definitely right. People are tired. There's a lot going on in the world, and there's a lot of back and forth and just so many disagreements on everything.
Yeah.
We can't agree on pretty much almost anything in this country, no matter what. Even people within their respective parties can't agree on things.
Oh, they're split. That's why we'll never have a civil war.
It's now worse than it's probably ever been. I mean, we've got a growing population, and we've obviously got a bunch of really, really, if you think about them on their face, we've got a bunch of issues that should have never even been issues.
Yep.
And that's only added fuel to the fire that's already been there with conflict amongst ourselves. So what we have to be careful of is this. Whatever you believe about the government, whether you think that we should have big government or small government, the problem is we were founded upon the principle of small government, and the states really having a lot of the interpretation for however states wanted to be ran. But the federal government has just become this beast that is spending trillions of dollars and not managing that money well, and always fighting with each other, pushing agendas that really have no business being pushed on the country. And that's what we have to be careful of, because regardless or not, we're living in a world right now to where the government shutdown just now stopped. We just now started the government back up. Awesome. But at the end of the day, that's not going to matter as much as people think that it matters, because it doesn't change a whole lot of the big core issues that we're still facing in the country right now. Being that we are at each other's throats constantly about everything. I mean, even right now in the conservative world, in the conservative movement, we've got people at each other's throats about a lot of different things. We've got people at each other's throats about primarily right now, about the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, we need to be super prepared and ready. Number one, just as not buying it, right? I've seen a lot of people that are going out and waving the flag saying, hey, this is a false flag for everybody, not just for wars outside of America, but for in America. Like, they're trying to get us divided. They're trying to get us to turn against each other. They're trying to cause turmoil within the country. I don't know how much of any of that is true, but at the end of the day, from the top down right now, we are seeing some pretty major falling outs. We're seeing people really upset with each other. We're seeing people speculating on things, acting like that there's a whole lot more involved in Charlie Kirk's death, and even in the things that have happened after Charlie Kirk's death, before Charlie Kirk's death. And there's a lot of people that are just at odds about this entire thing. And I mean, for some of the points that have been made, it seems rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like, people want answers. To your point, they're tired. They're tired of just being told one thing, but the facts not lining up.
Right.
And feeling like they're just being force-fed. Here, this is the truth. Believe it. Don't ask for anything more. Just keep this and just stop with any questions. Stop there. I think there's a lot of people that are upset with that. So people want truth, but at the same time, we're definitely, I think part of the fatigue that we're feeling and the tiredness that we're feeling is because it's starting to feel like we may not ever know the truth, because so many people are saying so many different things. So how are we ever supposed to know what is actually true? You know?
Well, I'm glad you brought that piece up specifically. I put a video out on my personal page a couple weeks ago. I said, from this moment forward, forevermore, and I think I said it on the podcast. If I didn't, I'll say it now. You can no longer trust video.
Mm-hmm.
Stop and think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, they could really just process that. In my world, I remember distinctly when we went from 35 millimeter film to digital cameras in law enforcement. And there was an uprising with attorneys that said, this will manipulate forevermore evidentiary value because you can modify digital pictures much easier than you can modify 35 millimeter film, which you technically could do to a certain degree. We've graduated into AI now to where you can sit down and put somebody next to you in a vehicle and have a conversation with them. They're not even there, and they look like they're there. So you can't trust video anymore. You can't trust what you're seeing. The movie industry was all up in arms over this 6 months ago, 8 months ago when it first came out. And they said, our talents are going to be replaced. And well, we've had CGI for 30 years. I don't know. They're adding fake stuff into the background to add, even George Lucas redid the Star Wars things and added some of the scenes that he wanted to add on the originals and re-released them. And that was, 2.5 decades ago, I guess, 2 decades ago, whatever it's been now. So now we're to the point where you can't trust video. And that's very concerning to me because from a reality standpoint, we're living in an age where it's going so fast. We're consumed with so much. Everything around us is in so many ways kind of beating us down. You're overwhelmed and you're just trying to navigate. You're trying to figure out, this is why I think this is why people just go to work, go home and disengage from life. And as much as I hate to see it, they get on more screen time, but at the end of the day, it's like they're kind of feeding their own problem. I think we've all done it on some level. But when I look at video, specifically video, I go, if I can't open something up and trust it, then what do I trust? I mean, really, think of that from just a baseline for a minute. If I don't know if the thing that I'm seeing is real or authentic, and I got to sit there and I got to weigh it, and I got to really dig into it, and I got to look for the little isms or the little thing in the background that clearly shows that this was a AI generated video. Now I've got to sit here and dissect a video in my brain to determine if this thing's even real, the bandwidth that takes to do that. Well, I guess I'm just going to stop watching, and I think that it's a residual problem that's going to compound. That's my take into so many things. So when somebody first came out and said it, I remember a couple of years ago, AI is coming, and here's what we're getting ready to do. Well, AI was around, but it's really taken off in the last few months. I remember thinking in the moment, this thing is going to be, in so many ways, abused that it's not funny. And now here we are. Now we're already here. And that was just a couple of years ago, but I remember thinking that just a few months ago, and now we're here. We're in lockstep with, I don't even know what reality is anymore when I turn something on. I read an article the other day that said the porn industry, stop and think about this for a second. The porn industry, this taboo, evil, people doing whatever they're doing, selling their bodies online for profits, all these different things. The porn industry is complaining. Let this sink in. This is absolutely hilarious to me. The headline caught my attention. Actors in the porn industry are mad that their authentic talent is going to be taken away and replaced by AI. And I go, what? That's where we're at. So to the lowest levels of debauchery is now going to be replaced by computer generated because people prefer computer generated porn over real people. Now, take it from the debauchery level and put it into real world relationships. I know physical people right now, and I'm not saying this is right, wrong. I'm just saying I know people right now that use AI on a level that they actually have their own chatbot person that they've created that does work for them and they interact with, and they tell this person what to do, and they're having conversations like the person's sitting next to them. And it looks like a person, except for this person's doing their workload for them. I've watched these videos. They're everywhere right now. And I go, holy cow. So I've gotten to the point, if I can't see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, or feel it, I'm not even sure what is real. And I hate to say that, but it sounds like a Debbie Downer, but it's just a bona fide fact. I can pull up a video right now on my phone in 10 seconds, and you would not be able to determine whether it's real. I think that is terrifying on so many levels, because right now we have authenticity between you and me. We can make eye contact. We both know we're here. But this is like the movie WALL-E on steroids. Like, it is scary where we're headed. And right now, you hit on it, and I think we should deviate away from my point to this point. Right now, in the conservative movement, you've got, so Charlie Kirk is assassinated. You got Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Jesse Waters, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, essentially. The six, I would call them. And 3 or 4 of them are at odds with each other in a massive way. One over the Charlie Kirk thing, and a couple other things. This dude called Nick Fuentes, I don't know if you've ever seen any of his videos. Super controversial dude. I've not dug enough into him to speak into him intelligently, but I've watched some clips with him. Wow. And he's a young dude. And he's clearly sharp. He's bright. I don't know how discerning he is, but he is cottoned onto some things, and it has created a rift between those people that I just named. And with Charlie Kirk's passing, it has come out now that this is potentially an inside hit on Charlie. And it has really shattered the upper echelons of the Turning Point community. I mean, they've put a podcast out on this stuff addressing it, but the finger pointing that is happening and the blames and stuff's going back and forth. The reason I bring this up is you've got a lot of big time podcasters, the biggest names in the conservative movement podcaster, at odds with each other. And you add that to the fatigue, and people are like, now I can't even go to a source anymore. There's just a lot that you can't believe, and you don't know what to do. So videos, not real, authentic, AI taking over everything. I mean, when the porn industry is complaining, we got a problem. We got a real problem. I can no longer be this person that I want to be because this robot visual is going to come in and take my job. And I'm like, what? Yeah. And at the same time, I go, but I actually understand where they're coming from because I'm seeing it in every platform across the board. So take the debauchery out of it and just look at the rest of the world. Who's going to be put out of business? What's happening? Who do you trust? Where do you go? Well, if I'm sourcing my conservative-minded, valued people, I'm going to them, and they're at odds with each other, and they're all finger pointing. I mean, they're talking about some pretty dark stuff happening right now in that whole Charlie Kirk deal, and that's hard to hear because we sat in this gym watching that memorial. You know, people crying, hearts going out. You watching Erica come up, all the things she said, and now they're a step away from saying she's involved. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that. Like, I don't know what to believe.
There's a lot.
It's a lot,
There's
dude.
a lot floating around. So first, let's preface this.
Because I don't know.
People heard Charlie. People knew his message. They knew his heart. And he was obviously a convicted man. And he walked the walk. He didn't just talk the talk. So obviously, the mourning was not done in vain.
That's right.
Obviously, he was taken from us in a tragic way. So not to take anything away from that. But yeah, for there to be this much confusion and this much division, I know that he certainly wouldn't have wanted there to be division over his death. He would have wanted there to be a rallying and a union rather than what's happening right now. But at the same time, we're seeking truth. We're seeking answers. There's a lot of people that are. And to your point with the AI, I mean, man, it'd be awesome if the porn industry went out of business. That'd be incredible.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's going to
replacing
be
it with AI is no better.
It's not helping.
In fact, I mean, there's probably an argument to be made that would be worse. I mean, the studies on what porn does to you psychologically already castrates you.
Yeah.
It makes you messed up in so many different ways. And to think about people wanting something computer generated instead of something real, that's even more. I'm sure that the psychological effects are going to be just tenfold, however bad it is with porn. That's a whole nother discussion for another day. But the point being is, AI is definitely not helping the situation. It's definitely making people even more distant from the truth. And it's making it much harder to discern. Like, I mean, I'll get on Instagram and watch a video, and somebody maybe sends me something. Maybe it's something that just pops up as soon as you open. And sometimes it's like, wow, that's crazy. That's got to be AI. I think that's AI. But they're getting to the point where it's so hard to tell if it's AI or not.
And that's my point.
Some of these videos that have been sent to me that are AI, the only way that I've even been able to tell that they are fake is because whatever application they're using to make them, whether it's Sora or whatever, they'll try to like blur out where it has the overlay, the watermark. And so you can see that little blurry thing floating because they tried to blur it out intentionally. A lot of them at least have the watermarks. You're like, okay, this is obviously AI, but they're trying to blur those watermarks out. Sometimes they do a poor job of it, and then you can see they're like, oh, okay, that's AI. But there's been some of these videos that I saw with people like answering their door, and there's a bear or a lion on the porch. Some of those videos, like from the doorbell camera perspective, they look so real. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you could genuinely believe a lot of those videos would like be real. So we're getting to the point of that being something that we really have to live with. Of somebody could just put a video out there with a very sophisticated and capable AI and us not know the difference.
Here's why this is important, and I'm going to turn it right back over to you. I got a friend of mine, acquaintance. I'll call him an acquaintance. So he's a software guy, designer, engineer, coder, high-end, big time. I can't go into the background of where he came from, but I can tell you it was one of the alphabet soup agencies, and he wrote the case management system for him. Went on his own. The stuff I've seen him develop is incredible. I say this. I'm having a conversation with him the other day, and he said, let me tell you what's happening already behind the scenes. You've not seen it yet. Here's what's coming. And he shows me a video. He goes, what we have the capability of doing now is, and you've seen it in AI, but this goes to the next level. So Jared comes out. Jared, let's just say on a Sunday you're preaching. You're out in front, and you decide to film it, and then you post your service. That's all you do. We have the capability now to take what you said and 100% change it and make it authentic. In and as much as Jared comes out and says, to be in heaven, to go to heaven, to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, you have to submit. Baptism is the component, right? And now they change it to, you don't need to be baptized. And you say it, and people watch it, and they hear it, and they go, oh, well, Jared said this, except for you didn't say it. That's the next generation. And he was showing me a video of two dudes, and he showed me the first conversation, which was the authentic one, and then he changed it to where they had another conversation. I physically did not know the difference. I would have thought it was the same two dudes having the exact same conversation in a different way. He goes, that's what's going to change everything, because anything you say or do is no longer going to be, you're almost going to have somebody who's a coder on the defense attorneys and on the prosecutorial aspect of stuff within law enforcement to either bring a case forth or challenge a case, because nobody will be able to differentiate. So evidentiary value in America, as we know it, is changing forevermore as we speak. And that's what's terrifying, because when I watched that video, I was like, if he had just shown me the second one, I would have believed it the same as the first.
Yeah.
Except for it was 180 degrees the opposite. That is, I'm telling you, man, that is terrifying, because that tells me that we are going to lose groundedness, the ability to discern. We're not going to know what to authenticate. We're not going to know what to believe everywhere we turn, unless it's standing in front of me. Again, taste, touch, five senses, right? If it's not right there, I'm already, as a 57-year-old man sitting in this country going, 6 months ago, That's how much it's changed for me. Now I'm not sure what I'm even going to see on my phone, on a screen, in a movie, in a YouTube deal. Because if it can be changed in that way, and it can, he showed it to me, that's what's coming next. Think about the manipulation with that. Yeah. You can change what anybody's saying or doing. So take it down a short rabbit hole. You have evil in your heart. You want to do bad to people. You could just set anybody up. You could literally just pull this video off of this podcast and change it, have it redistributed. And people will say, well, that's what Mike and Jared talked about. And the next thing you know, we're defending ourselves for something that we didn't do, trying to go back to prove something. We make another video to try to stand on, hey, this didn't actually happen. Then they come in and they change that. Imagine if you're in somebody's crosshairs and you're the target and they just want to ruin your life. How easily that would be. Think about husbands and wives. Think about there's just so many places your brain can go. And that's where we're at right now. And we've not even seen it hit full stride, and it's already creating the ruckus it is in the country. After I watched that video the other day, it floored me. Yeah. It's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. This conversation right here, if videoed and sent out, could be manipulated to a point that they could make us say anything we want, and you and I would never have a way to defend it.
Man,
that's terrifying.
Well, I think that it's right now building an importance that has never been built to this level, to really be the kind of person that you are and be consistent in it.
It's huge.
Because what's going to defend you? What's going to defend you? Yeah. The only thing that's going to defend you is having a life that's been built on the same thing consistently, and people around you who know you.
Your own integrity.
No, yeah, he wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard Jared preach 100 times. He wouldn't have preached that. I've heard Micah talk on the Daily Carry 100 times. He wouldn't have said that.
Yep.
That's what's going to be but that's even scary in itself.
Because they can go backwards too, though.
That's scary in itself, because even people who have a name, have a reputation, they get burned all the time. They get burned for tweets from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I think that the other scarier component to consider here, though, is rewriting history. Think about what they could do with historic tapes.
Anything.
And just start to rewrite it, and even just subtly just make small little changes that maybe our kids wouldn't say it right now, to the point where we would take notice, like, wait, that's not what actually happened. Why are they teaching you that? Oh, I saw the video. Well, they could do it subtly to where it's just these little changes that wouldn't probably even make it onto the radar, and just literally completely rewrite history with video.
I just watched Martin Luther King order food the other day in a fast food restaurant.
Man, AI is crazy.
And the people around him, you would have thought it was Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. That's obviously AI, because Martin Luther King is not alive. But I can tell you, if you were watching it and didn't know who Martin Luther King was, never heard of him, you would have been watching that video going, what's going on here? This is kind of cool. This is funny.
Well, a cooler application. This wasn't scary. This was a cool application. I saw Daniel in the lion's den, or whatever that was. So I've seen a lot of little AI snippets with biblical characters. Those have been cool.
If they had cell phones back then, those videos,
if they had the selfies or whatever,
and they're funny.
They are.
They're absolutely hilarious. And that to me is it's funny. I get it. It's great. It opens up lighthearted comedy. It's good conversation starter. Hey, did you see this? It's the darkness that I'm talking about. And I don't want to I don't want to sit here and beat up the folks out there listening on the darkness of the world. We got a lot of it, but there's also a lot of light, and light only shines in the dark. So it's the one thing that destroys the dark, and we should all focus on that. But to Jared's point, the only thing you got is your integrity. The only thing you have to stand on is your history. If everything around you is going to be fake, then nothing is fake. If everything around you is real, then nothing is real. If everything is hatred, then nothing is hatred. If everything is racist, then nothing is racist. We can't be all inclusive. What concerns me in this is there's so much of it out there right now. And look, scams, people online. I got an email this morning from my pastor that said, I need you to call me on an important message or an important situation. And then it said, no, check that. Just throw me an email back. And I had to reread it twice. I'm like, this is phishing. It's not real. So somebody's got a hold of his thing and sent out, and I'm just like, thank goodness I was discerning on it.
Wow.
And he immediately said, yeah. He goes, somebody's been phishing my thing for a while. I'm like, okay. But I had to catch the catchword in it. The average person that our elderly community gets taken advantage of all the time on this kind of stuff, and they lose their monies and their investments and whatnot. Now AI, that you can add that to it and make it authenticate. Are you kidding me? Phone calls, emails, that's one thing. Videos, that's another thing. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It just, when he showed, I think the reason is I've got perspective because I saw this video, and this video terrified me because I was like, I can't tell the difference between the two. And I studied him, and he asked me to study him. He's like, show me where you see AI in this. And I couldn't. I tried. And he goes, hey, nobody has been able to. You're like the 50th person I've showed this to. Nobody can see it. He goes, this is what's coming. And that right there, I could just go back to the five senses. I don't know what else to do. Five senses in my lineage of whatever I've done in life that people would know me for, I think ultimately is where we're going to be. It's where we're going to be.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is the integrity piece is huge, but the integrity piece is also got to be centered where it needs to be centered, right?
Yeah.
Because if everything's true, then nothing's true. It's like what you just said. Like, there's one truth. There's really one truth for us to live our life by. Either everything matters or nothing matters.
Yeah.
And if everything matters, then we better dig into why it matters.
That's right. Yeah.
It's pretty fundamental and pretty simple. Before we dive into that a little bit more, with this AI conversation, the topic of regulation comes into play. Like, man, should they ban this at a certain point? Should I do this at a certain point? Well, here's the most scary part, I think, is if the government were to make any type of restrictions on this thing, then guess who's the only one who has it?
Yeah.
Is them.
Yeah.
And that's way worse. That's way worse. I think that hopefully we start to have some kind of, I know that there's metadata on everything. Everything has metadata. If you take a picture on your phone, has metadata.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a video, regardless. So hopefully what really has to become a factor is that these AI generated videos, images, whatever, that they have to have some type of a metadata stamp on them where they can be tracked at their core to know whether they're actually just somebody pulled it up and it says that the metadata was a video from iPhone camera or whatever, or whether it was generated from Sora or ChatGPT or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have all the knowledge on all that stuff at the moment, so I don't know if that's already something that some of these things implement or not. But regardless, hopefully that's something that gets wisely integrated so that a lot of these videos and photos, to their source, they can be tracked down and their metadata can be found. And we know, like, if there ever is a situation where something is put out that could potentially cause World War III, right? Because we're not too far off from people being able to just put out content that would cause there to be that level of tension.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, there's definitely going to be some regulation and repercussion if people put out hate speech that could cause world conflict, could cause a threat to national security, right?
But how do you control it though? So
I don't think that you necessarily do. I think that it's probably pretty straightforward. If you start to make some of these videos, like if you make a video of Donald Trump and Donald Trump is saying, hey, we're going to go to war with so-and-so and we're going to do this, we're tired of this, whatever, and you're just making Donald Trump say all these horrible things about a country, that's probably going to be knocking on the door of, slander, treason, almost, maybe. I don't know. So there's definitely some of these that could probably just, a lot of what we already have in law would probably be applicable as far as just putting something out there that's blatantly false and not true, right? So there's definitely got to be some criminal consequences where there would be defamation or whatever, So hopefully there's some safety in there, but it's still definitely going to be a little bit of rigmarole to prove it. But that's my point in saying hopefully the metadata will show, oh, this is generated by this, that, and the other, right? And I think that it will. I think, but I don't know completely.
I want to be on board with you. I'm not nearly the optimist, and maybe I'm cynical about this, but I go back to a local case that happened here in a high school where is the story that I've heard it. So I'm hearing this like ninth hand. So forgive me if I have this wrong, but I've heard it enough that I think there's some degree of truth in this. There was a young girl in the high school, 16, 17 years old, sent a picture naked to a boyfriend. Boyfriend shares the picture. Somebody gets a hold of it and crops it with AI and then spreads it around the school. This girl's life is over in her mind immediately. Like the whole school receives it. I don't know how they send it out, but they get it. This thing turned into, I know it's a lawsuit. I know there's been multiple people named in it, and I know that it's authenticated that it was fake, but it took months to figure it out that it was fake. And that was one case, one person, one episode, and their life is, holy cow. Can you imagine the turmoil? You're the parents and you're looking at your 17-year-old daughter fall apart. Bad choice for the little girl to send the picture in the first place, sure, but at the end of the day, look what they did with it. And so I take that one example and then multiply that times millions, tens of millions of people, right? And then tens of millions of organizations, and it just on and on and on and on and on and on. So I don't know how you regulate it, because it's not so much, to your point, that you can't have a stamp on it, is how do you prove it? How does the average person go back in? Who do you go to?
Well, it's a very slow, bottlenecked process.
Oh my gosh, Douglas County right now, if I heard correctly in a conversation I was having the other day, has 60-some felony cases pending on potential pedophiles right now.
Wow.
That they've not been able to take a step forward on, because proving it due to technology is the problem. And I think you are going to see a massive, massive, massive shift in law enforcement in the next 12 months. I think we're going to go away from, you're still going to always have hands-on street stuff. Like you got to deal with traffic, domestics, robberies, that kind of thing.
I don't know, man. What about RoboCop?
RoboCop could come in. Yep. He could solve all of it. How did he solve it? He just shot everybody. No, you're always going to have the hands-on stuff, the response stuff, the emergent response stuff. It's just human nature we're going to be dealing with. But the behind-the-scenes stuff, I think you'll see, and I will predict right now in the next 12 months, every law enforcement agency in the country will have some kind of data, tech, crime, division lab, even all the way down to the smallest agencies. It will become their new deal. It'll be the hiring. It will become the hiring practice.
Do you think that they're very far off from just requiring their officers to some level on every single call, whether it's a traffic stop or whatever it is, to have some type of a built-in AI assist respond this way? Like, do you think that they're that far off? Like, here's the thing. You see all these borderline harassment videos where people are spitting off this law and all this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, there's already AI assistants that could answer any of those questions immediately, right? Mm-hmm. Some of these police officers, they obviously are just being cornered, and then they're just being the people that they're on these traffic stops or whatever, some people that are just standing in front of some public building videoing or whatever. They're just trying to prove a point by whatever loophole that they found in the law to exercise whatever right that they think that they're exercising, really for no other reason other than views and money from lawsuits if they catch any police officers in any violation, right?
Right.
So I could see AI kind of becoming something that is incorporated on a lot of these calls so that police officers on the fly, pretty much, they don't have to go and open a law book. They're just like, here, what did you say? And then the chat assistant or whatever says exactly what needs to be clarified based on whatever codes, laws, whatever in local jurisdiction, which I'm not saying necessarily is a good thing, but at the same time, maybe it would keep law enforcement officers that a lot of times probably are well-intentioned from doing something that they maybe just didn't know was not the case. Or was the case.
I don't know. I mean, AI may help with something like that. You're talking about these auditor guys, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here's my simple solution to this. Number one, charge them with harassment and get rid of them. And it's very simple. Every one of these guys that are picking up a camera standing on a sidewalk filming something has a constitutional right to do that. I don't know anybody that's arguing that at all. The where it comes in is the harassment piece. So you are, by design, going out to prove that you can film. Okay, we got that. Why do you have to keep doing it? Well, the only reason you're doing it, to your point, is to get views, clicks, and money, and a potential lawsuit. When the cops show up on scene, because this is what the citizens do, and this is why I said you're always going to have a response system in place. It's never going to get replaced. I don't know how AI would come into this. I haven't even thought about it from that standpoint. But I've watched about 100 of these videos now. I've commented on a few of them. There's one guy, Jason, little bald dude with a red beard. I can't think of his last name. He and his son have been doing this for 3 years. He's been arrested. He's been arrested on school property filming kids. Let that sink. Jason Gutterberg. Gutterman, that's his name, Gutterman.
Okay.
What a tool this guy is. So he is the most provoking human being I've ever seen. He doesn't just do it with cops. He does it with citizens. He does it all. He'll just sit there. He'll walk up to an outdoor cafe, put a camera 5 feet away from somebody and film 2 people eating. And the guy, hey, can you not do that? And he says, yeah, it's public space. You need to learn your rights. You're an idiot. And he just starts off that way. That's harassment. And if the cops were charging this, none of these guys would be out there. And now, if they're looking to catch a cop in something, look, I could catch the most world-renowned MD doing something wrong in a medical practice at some point. If you sit there and wait long enough, you're going to do something. Colorado Revised Statutes is a book about 2 1/4 inches thick. There's got to be laws in there that cover, every title code there is. So even if you were just doing 42 code, which is traffic, oh my gosh, 42 code alone in the book is like that. You're going to find something that somebody doesn't know. And anybody that sits out there thinks that a cop memorized a 2.5 inch book is sorely mistaken, because attorneys don't memorize law books. Attorneys go in, find out what the crime is, go back, look at the law, read the law on that case. They have assistants to do da-da-da-da-da. These guys that are going around filming, they're just looking to make money. They're just looking to harass. They're looking to provoke. Arrest them for harassment. It's that simple.
Yeah.
That solves that problem.
Well, those big books is exactly why I even bring up what I was really asking more than anything, asking if you thought that it's going to move in that direction. I can see it moving in that direction, because what they're doing is they're building these specific AIs that are for specific businesses or agencies or whatever. So rather than just opening up ChatGPT, you've got whatever model that's specifically geared with exactly the information that is relevant to what you're doing. So whether it's in a hospital and you've got your codes in the hospital, whether it's in whatever government agency, whether it's a law firm, whatever it may be. So exactly to your point, those big books that obviously nobody's going to memorize, well, you could have AI be able to just immediately tell you, all right, this is how this should go down.
Totally agree with that. And so I want to clarify something, because I've just been over here kind of digging on the AI thing. I'm digging on it because of what can happen on both the relational damage, evil side of things. I can see massive benefits for artificial intelligence being utilized, from the medical world to research world to you name it. I can see it shortcutting a lot of things. I can see it putting some positions out of business for sure. But at the end of the day, it's a degree of progress and it's a degree of danger at the same time. And the counterbalance between those two things is a teeter-totter. And right now, in my opinion, the big kid is sitting on the bottom and the little kid is sitting up top. And the little kid is the authentic good, and the big kid on the bottom is the bad evil. And we got to get this thing evened out, because for all of the good that it can do, and I've seen a lot of people use it for many things. I genuinely mean this. I've talked to numerous people in just the last month alone, since coming back from South Africa, that use AI as their assistants and research and da-da-da-da. The caution that I would throw out on that anything is just don't solely rely on it. Don't lose your brain in what you know, because you can just type something and go, oh, here's the way that it goes. Be careful with that. But I definitely see advances. The point that you made is a good one. We pull it up, we open it up, we go, here's what it says, here's the law, move along. What these guys are doing in these auditing standpoints is they're standing back on the First Amendment, but they're violating people's rights criminally by harassment. And there's a difference, because there's the First Amendment, there's freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom to gather, freedom of religion, all of that falls underneath it. We're going to go out. Totally. No, I don't see anybody arguing that point.
Yeah.
I see cops having to show up on scene because business owners are going, there's a dude and his son standing out in front of my business for hours, filming every single person walking in and out. And while they have a Bill of Rights right to stand out there, is it annoying? Is it harassing? Is it loitering? Is it, you got to start, this is why we have laws that fall under, it's not just the Constitution, right? There's the First Amendment, and then there's the Second Amendment, arguably the two most important. Then there's the Fourth Amendment, which is hugely important. We have freedoms, but you don't have the right to abuse those freedoms. And that's the difference. So I have the right to bear arms. I don't have the right to go shoot an innocent person. I have the right to speak. I don't have the right to go denigrate and drop the N-word and all sorts of other things in public, screaming at somebody and harassing them, just because I have the ability to speak, I still have to control my tongue. And I think law enforcement, in my opinion, from the videos I've seen, and like I said, I've seen maybe 100, they need to wake up and use harassment, because that, at the end of the day, there's a reason that is there. It's kind of a catch-all term. You don't get the right to go into public and just annoy people because you want to, because you have the First Amendment. Yeah. If that was the case, right, fill in the blank. So, and I'll double this back to fatigue. I, in many ways, think that's exactly what our problem is right now. So we've got people that fought and died, and you see this argument all the time. Military, my family served for the right for you to go out and be a jerk. Well, no, they didn't. They served for you to have freedom of speech. They didn't serve for you to have the right to go be a jerk. And there's a difference in those two things. And we've somehow morphed them all together. So which is why you're seeing all of these movements pop up. And I specifically mentioned the feminist movement. I have zero issue in any way, shape, or form with women's rights. Like a woman has the right to vote. A woman has a right to, I mean, literally across the board, I could almost support anything. What you don't have a right to do is go tear people down, tear people apart that don't agree with your point of view. And I don't care where you're coming from. As I said in the podcast eons ago with using the cake maker, if you liked the cake so much, if you're a gay couple, and your choice to be gay, it's your world, not my world, but you want this particular cake maker to make your cake, have them bake the cake, put your little porcelain figurine on it, and go enjoy the cake and have your wedding. Fine. I can leave you alone. You can leave me alone. I, as a Christian, would never walk into a gay/head shop or whatever it is and start screaming at somebody that they don't have a poster of Jesus Christ hanging on the wall or some meme or something that I believe in and stand for, and then go sue that shop. I would never even think to do that. It's their shop. Let them run their shop how they want. And we've gotten into the First Amendment now. Well-intended, good. We all stand on it. We're all afforded the opportunity. I will fight to my death over that. What I will not do is sit back and go, you have the right to beat everybody up and demoralize society and drag everybody down and name call them and scream. I mean, some of these videos I have seen, I watched a video yesterday. I think it was in Dearborn, Michigan. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see all the women and all the burqas raiding? I think it was a Target store.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh my gosh, by the hundreds, dudes, men and women going into this store in Michigan and just robbing it.
Wow.
And you go, this is 2025. We have mass mobs running into a store, and in this case, Muslim, in America, no accountability. People are tired of that. That's when I say fatigue. This is what I'm talking about. Fatigue is a catch-all word right now because you could be fatigued for many different reasons. But I see stuff like that, and I just go, ugh, why are we not getting in front of this stuff? And, sending in the National Guard into these cities makes a statement, but the city should be responsible for this. Donald Trump, like him, hate him, I don't really care at this point, should not have to pick up the phone and go, hey, I need the military to go into this city. Portland is a war zone. Portland needs to self-police. Portland voters, Portland, this is on you. You keep voting it in, Chicago keeps voting it in, and then you come back and you want all of these social programs to come in to benefit you because, oh, this poor guy, and then we're going to let him out on a PR bond because we're not going to hold him to account for the 9th burglary he's done and the 7th person that he's assaulted. It's like, well, then what's the point of law? We have no rule of law anymore. And so Trump's going to, and I'll defend him on this, I think he's going to a bit of an extreme with ICE and with some of these things because you have to. Like you have to bring it back to some degree of middle ground. Because right now the pendulum has shifted so far that anything you push back on, everybody else is going to go, oh my gosh, he's terrible. It's like, well, wait a second. You got millions of people come over the border. People are tired of that. You got millions of people protesting. People are tired. You get on and on and on and on and on and on. Well, where do you start? Local law enforcement isn't doing, we're not even taking care of the auditors that are running around filming people right now. Stop them, put them in jail for harassment. They do it again, put them in jail for harassment. I mean, when government is like filming kids on a playground saying, it's a public school, I have a right to do this. I think anybody in the right mind would go, you're a pervert. Yeah. Something is wrong with you. Who cares about your right of the First Amendment if you're sitting out here filming kids?
Yeah. If somebody came and did that and they were filming just our school outside, I can tell you right now, that person would be hospitalized and all the witnesses would say the same thing.
Yeah.
He just had an accident. He just fell.
He fell 11 times. That's like the Marines in that place where the guy had like the broken shoulder. Look, we're not condoning violence, but at the same time,
You don't go to schools and film
You don't
kids.
go to kids. That's right. And Mike Tyson said it. Everybody's got a game plan until they get punched in the mouth. And I think right now, America, in so many ways, and I'm not saying this because I think I'm right and somebody else is wrong. I think it's because people are tired. I think people are tired of seeing this stuff. Every video I see of that same guy, I just go, oh my gosh, like what is your point in life? Like, what is your purpose? Is your sole purpose just to go around to harass people, to show people how smart you are because you have the First Amendment? Well, let me help you out, buddy. Let me help you out with something simple. Yeah. Everybody's got the same right to go film. It's just that most people are smart enough not to go stick a camera in somebody's face for views, clicks, and lawsuits. And if that's the only thing you're trying to prove, then you are below lint dust.
But doesn't that tell us something? That should tell us something so important. And it's what we're trying to do here and what we have plans and we've got visions to do growing from here is the opposite of that. Because why? We're in this culture that rewards this kind of behavior. Whether we're realizing it or not, it rewards it. Why? Because those kinds of videos, those kinds of clips, that confrontation, that division, that conflict, that is what gets views. That is what gets clicks.
Yep.
That is what gets people commenting. And whether it's hate or love, regardless, it's getting it's fueling that fire. So the culture really is, and we're seeing this. It's not like everybody's just posting that clickbait conflict stuff, but we're getting more content, and what we need is even more content that is shedding a light, that's doing something good, not just going and harassing people, not just doing it for clicks and views because you're trying to start a debate with somebody or starting to start even more conflict with the world. We've got to have some unity in a world and in a society that is so divided. And here's the bottom line. I truly believe we have to be so careful of thinking that we could just be united over good. But what is good?
Yeah.
What is good?
Good point.
There has to be from the top down. Where are the morals written from? It can't just be that we just shoot from the hip and say, hey, let's do it. I heard Matthew McConaughey on Joe Rogan's podcast. It sounded so just flighty and not convicted at all when he's talking about, hey, why don't we just bring the 10 commandments and then we bring all the best commandments from Hindu and whatever and Buddhism and just bring all the good ones and let's just put together a melting pot of all the good stuff that could come out in the world from all these religions. It's like, that is the worst thing that I've ever heard.
Was it satirical?
I think he was being pretty serious.
Was he? I want to hear it.
He was also the first one to put his foot up on. Did you see the clip?
No, I've
Puts his bare foot up on Joe's table. It was pretty hilarious. It was an interesting podcast. I don't know if I got all the way through it. But on that same note, we just had Elon on Joe's podcast, and Elon's talking about how he thinks that phones are literally going to be nothing but AI. When you get on your phone, from the beginning to the end, it's just an AI interaction, including any material, any content that you want to consume. It's all AI generated because AI learns what you want to see, how you want your phone to work, all this stuff. So applications gone. Instagram, YouTube, all this gone because all it is AI giving you what you want. That is a scary thing. And hopefully we've got some guys who stand up and do something to counteract that, because that's not how this world should operate.
Do you think he's wrong?
I hope that he's wrong. Do I think that he's wrong? I think that there's probably, if you looked at how many posts are getting posted every day right now on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, I would say probably as of right now, the overwhelming majority of everything being posted is AI.
Yeah.
Probably majority of all of it is AI already. So is he wrong? It'd be kind of hard to say that he's wrong because it's already seeming to move in that direction. But hopefully there's going to be some people that want to stay in tune with reality and not just get completely unplugged. And I think that that's a slippery slope on all fronts, because what did we just talk about in this society that's rewarding conflict and division? We need to have some people who stand for truth, stand for what's good. And I say truth because that is whenever you have a conviction, that's powerful. Whenever you have something that you believe in and you know so clearly that this is the truth, so much to the point where I'll live my life for this and I'll die for this. That's powerful. And that can't be faked. You can have AI get online and put something together that's a preacher preaching a message, or somebody praying for somebody. You could put some videos together that are AI, but there's a difference between that and something that is actually real and grounded in somebody's conviction, and it's a personal relationship, and it's a personal approach to actually standing on those things and standing on the word of God. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. No beating around the bush. Whenever we say the morals have to come from somewhere, good has to be defined by something, there is nothing more powerful and more proven to be real and true than the Holy Bible. That has stood the test of time. It is grounded in reality. And the man Jesus, he is very well recorded in all kinds of different historic documents. He existed. Not only did he exist, he died and he rose again. And over 500 people saw him whenever he walked this earth after he rose again. So we know that Jesus was real. We know that he died. We know that he rose again. So that confirms everything in the Holy Bible in and of itself. But that's just starting there. You have to go and still unpack what we're supposed to do with that.
But you said earlier, and this is important, I think. So you said what scares me, if I heard you correctly, is this then can change history.
Yeah.
So when
I say history, let's be very careful and clear on this. That I think that recent history, we've already seen it manipulated. We've already seen it. We've already seen people start to teach things that are not what happened and interpret it, or just say that it was bad that this happened, good that this happened, and just changing facts and figures. What I think cannot be changed, and what is biblical even, that Holy Bible and the truth in it, that'll never be able to be manipulated. And you know what? Kind of makes sense that would be in a time period before we had AI, because it can't be manipulated. You're not going to be able to go and alter historic films of Jesus preaching his Sermon on the Mount because they don't exist. But what we do have is we know through a series of all kinds of different ways that we can confirm scientifically, literally, we can confirm the truth of the Bible. And that cannot be changed. That cannot be altered. Other things, those can be changed. More recent history can be rewritten. AI could definitely start to try to make this war on Bibles.
I'm convinced that that's already there.
Really?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So pull in your own leisure time, and now that's a 1964 King James Bible. Hard to read, a lot of thou'ths and thus and saiths, but it's authentic. It was pre-computer, pre-everything. That's the reason I hold on to that Bible. Go read a 2025 King James version and go page for page, verse for verse. And I'm telling you, right now, they do not read the same. Now, do you change a little bit at a time? Is it done by design? Is it done by intent? I don't know. I'm not behind the scenes. I couldn't even begin to tell you how to diagnose why. I'm just telling you it's changed. You change a word in a sentence, you change the entire sentence. You put a comma in a sentence, you change the meaning of the sentence. You change that.
Yeah.
Right? So we can keep filling in the blanks, but at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, I'm relying right now on my five senses. And I've made this decision in the last, I'm going to call it from Africa. I had these thoughts right before this was happening because I had some meetings with some dudes. But in Africa, everything was brought to life for me. So when I'm watching a lion chase down a kudu and kill it in front of me and eat it, I go, okay, that's real. Now, if I film it, that same thing that I'm watching with my naked eye, and I've got the camera in front of me, and I'm filming it, and I put it out, and somebody can manipulate my video. I've only got the memory in my head. I've got the video on my phone, but whatever that they change that's out there, then I've got to refute. I'm like, well, no, here's the original. Nobody's going to have the bandwidth, the time to do that. And they're going to get very frustrated very, very fast if they're sitting back saying, wait a second, somebody could capture my video and change it in real time? Somebody could capture what I'm saying and change it in real time? Yeah. And if Elon Musk is coming out and saying, look, you won't even have apps on your phone, everything's going to be AI, it's not because I think he's smart or intuitive or discerning. I think it's just common sense. I think we're headed in that direction. And that does scare me. And some of the things that are happening right now. So when I mentioned what was happening with the conservative talk show podcast movement, I watched Joe Rogan came on. It was recent, couldn't tell you the number. Did you see the one on Civil War?
Mm-mm.
He said, I'm paraphrasing. He says, I am more convinced now that we are on the verge of a civil war. And he goes, and I've said this for many, 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 many years. It's not going to be blue-gray civil wars. This isn't slavery in the 14th Amendment. Right now, we've got like 5,000 different movements in this country, all falling under the left. And we have hundreds of movements all falling underneath the right. Now, we have a core few on both sides that we argue about. But we are advancing at a pace right now, tired, fatigue, cost, truths, injustices, lack of people being held to account, innocent people being killed for standing up and just talking, people dying on subways for sitting. That starts to become back to the common man. That could have been my sister, my daughter, my wife, my whatever, my friend that was on that subway that day. And that becomes very real. And then you go, wait a second, dude's out with 14 different crimes, multiple felonies, should have never been out. And then you look at the system that let him out, and you look at the judge that let him out, and you start digging into it, and then you see the DEI behind it. It is just dangerous. It's dangerous on so many levels, and people don't know what to do with it. And this is why, in my world, I love movies. This is why certain movies to me have all but come true. Terminator, August 29th, 1997. Yep, kind of past that. Michael Douglas falling down, driving down the roadway one day, sitting in traffic, looks around, goes, that's it, I'm done. Gets out of his car with his little briefcase and starts going for a walk. And the next thing you know, you got an hour and 50 minutes of movie of Michael Douglas letting people have it. This back in the day, we used to call it going postal. This was before your time. But back in the day, we had people, and there was a series of these things that happened back in the, I want to say late 70s to mid 80s, maybe early 90s. Postal workers physically going postal, like going to the post office and shooting fellow coworkers. And there was a series of them that happened over many years. That term is still around, but the actionable steps are not there anymore. You don't see that. But back in the day, it was a real thing. People just had enough. Why the post office? I don't know. Why postal workers? Couldn't tell you. But it was a thing, and it was a legitimate thing. And it was where people were like, I'm afraid to go to work. I'm a postal worker. I'm moving mail back and forth, and I got to worry about getting executed. You always have cycles of these things. There's always the next thing, the next whatever. Right now, in my opinion, this is why I'd love to get George Brockler in here. In my opinion, is the judicial system and the lack of accountability with judges, specifically judges, DAs to some degree, but judges are the bane of society right now as far as what they're perpetuating, not mitigating, not getting in front of it. I'm not saying all judges, but judges in general are the problem, because you've got people, you go out, you have a bad crime, cops make the arrest, probable cause, evidence is substantiated to the nth degree. The DA says, man, this is a no-brainer, got it. They go in, the trial lasts a day, conviction takes 5 minutes from decision from jury, come out, and the judge goes, yeah, I'm going to give you 6 months on a 20-year sentence.
Yeah.
And you go, what? What just happened?
Yeah.
The amount of lives that decision just impacted in the courtroom with the victim, that's one thing. But it's what society sees. They go, well, then why should I care? Hence Michael Douglas and falling down. He's like, why should I care? No, nobody's going to do the right thing. I'm going to go do my thing. Now, going rogue, I don't know if that's a great idea or not, but I can tell you this. It's an entertaining movie, because when you sit back and you look at it, you go, I can relate to that. And I think the average man nowadays is starting to understand that. Not because I'm advocating for it, but sooner or later you get to a point where you're like, well, where do you draw the line? When I think of that family, that little girl, those pictures are being shared. I mean, imagine that. Imagine walking through that. That girl is scarred for life.
Yeah.
Now, did she make a bad decision? That's the lesson in it. Don't do that. That's her personal lesson. But the end result is look what people did to me. Look at what they took advantage of. And they just tore that family apart. And you go, oh, now you got attorneys involved and lawsuits in the school. And, of course, everybody's passing the buck, and we didn't know. And Well, people watch that, and they go, nobody's going to be held to account.
Yeah.
And that, I genuinely believe, to the depths of me, marrow deep depths of me, that is the biggest problem we're facing in this country right now, because we have people that have not turned to faith. We've turned God out of every single thing there is. And argue all you want, but you start removing it, You start seeing the byproduct of it. And right now we are at warp speed with the metastasization in this country of evil. And I'm just naming one-off little things, but you start grouping that in as a whole, and you start looking at it across the board and what people are fighting for. I mean, I looked at that video, those Muslim people running into that, I think it was a Target store. Dude, this wasn't like a flash mob that broke out in the middle of an airport and started singing a song that everybody's like, oh, look how cool this is. This was hundreds of people going in, looting, rioting, and assaulting because they said they have a right to go do it under Sharia law. I'm sorry, Sharia law is not a law in America.
Yeah. Well, everything that you just said, it just really resonates, and it helps me with what I'm going to, in my piece, hand it back to you to end, and then I think you're closing out for us today. But let me just do my best to try to paint a picture for everybody listening. This is the reason why true Christianity is the only chance that we have at unity in this country.
Amen.
This is the reason. Let me paint this picture, okay? You don't see true Christians going out there and looting and doing all this stuff. And they also, you don't see Christians that are getting to this point. And if you're at a verge, find some help.
Yeah.
But you don't see these breakdown, going postal moments. Instead, you see us falling to our knees and begging God for mercy, begging God to give us what we need to be able to make it through these trying times where our patience absolutely is tested, where the world is just falling apart around us, evil everywhere we turn and look, all kinds of stuff twisted and messed up, and even Christianity itself, people professing to be Christians that truly have no business saying that. It's sick and it's disgusting. I just saw a message. Somebody was talking online and trying to argue that Jesus could have been gay. Imagine that is how far society has let Christianity fall. Now, is everybody watering it down and making it an abomination to that degree? No, but at the same time, Jesus said it's better to be hot than cold.
Yeah.
That is the words in the Bible. It's better to be hot than cold. If you stay cold and you're trying to say that you're hot and cold, you're going to be more miserable than you were before.
Yeah.
Whenever you come into the fold, you know what kind of Christianity is the most radical, extreme faith that there is. Listen to this. This is so important for people to understand this. It's so radical and extreme to the point where Jesus says, love your enemies.
Yeah.
Love them. Not go kill them, not go execute them. Love them. Imagine that and let that sink in. That is radical. That is extreme. And I have to share, we just had a group of men. We were talking about how we can go and help with the problem that we're facing to your explanation, to your description, however many people charged with pedophilia in Douglas County right now. Well, we were talking about that, but somebody showed what I truly believe to be the heart of Christ in the group of men we were talking to and said, okay, but who's going to talk to those right. pedophiles about Jesus?
Yeah.
Let that sink in. That's the hard part for everybody. And it's hard for even me to digest. That's our flesh. But Jesus didn't just die for perfect people. He died for imperfect people. And Jesus loves Jesus, his love is accessible to anyone. It's one step away. That is extreme. That is radical. And that is the only chance that we have at unity. Because here's the thing. The reason that we need to be so prepared for this to be a potential reality, maybe the truth and the facts and the figures really do come out. Maybe Charlie Kirk's assassination was an inside job. You know why it wouldn't surprise me? My wife and I just now watched the episode of The Chosen where Jesus meets Judas.
Yeah.
Jesus loved him.
Yeah.
He brought him into the fold. Judas followed Jesus. It's not like that Jesus didn't know what was going to happen, but Jesus loved him anyways, gave him a chance anyways. At the end of the day, if you watch Charlie Kirk, you listen to his words, he obviously walked the walk. He didn't just talk the talk. He was sold out to his faith, which so many people are not. They try to act like they are. They try to say that they are, but their actions completely conflict with the truth.
You know who sold to their faith?
Who?
The Muslim community.
Right.
They've
That's a
been
good
reading
example.
the same book for 7 centuries. They don't read anything else. They are as devout a religion, if you want to call it a religion or a faith, as there is walking this planet.
Yeah.
Bar none. Do not underestimate this movement. This is a, oh my goodness, situation going on right now. So to your point, Jesus says, period, love, right? But we're also called to hate evil. Hate the evil, love the person. Hate the evil, love the person. And when it gets bad in your face and you got to stop evil, you got to stop evil. If you got to defend yourself, you do what you got to do to protect your family. But we've taken it in all sorts of different directions. But I will stand on it, man. They are a living example, a testimony, if you will, to being devout.
Yeah.
I mean, devout. I've got a Muslim buddy of mine that I've known from the sheriff's office for 30 years now, 29 and a half years. He is the quintessential peace-loving Muslim. So many people don't see it. I'm not here defending the Muslim faith at all. I'm a Christian. I'll stand all day long in it. But I can tell you, he is the kindest, most gentle, most devout. I mean, to watch him follow that faith is actually awe-inspiring of his devotion. We just agree theologically, or disagree, theologically. But we have the best conversations. And I will do my level best to paint that picture to help him to understand. And he looks at me and he says, hey, that's great. He goes, Mike, I'm not questioning you. I'm questioning every single person, to your point, that says they're a Christian. He goes, because you look at any of my brothers, you don't have to question anything. And I go, yeah, I can't fight that.
I mean, make no mistake. There's specific procedures that are in place. There's a formula to being an actual follower of Jesus.
Yes.
It's not just say, Jesus, come into my heart, and then all your problems are solved. You're of the fold. You're saved. That is watered down Christianity. That is not true. That is not Christianity. That is a man-made concept. Jesus had requirements for his followers. Jesus made it very clear that if you're going to follow me, do this. Don't just do this in your action, practicing the law, but even in your heart. Your heart needs to be reserved for me. You need to love me this way. And your love for me and your love that you have experienced from me needs to overflow into every area of your life like this. That's what Jesus is talking about whenever he's saying, love your enemy, not just your neighbor, love your enemy. And to keep your heart pure. Don't even lust, or else you've already committed that sin. Jesus is talking about letting there be an inward transformation that also becomes an outward transformation. And that's what so many people try to argue. Oh, you're just saying that you got to be perfect to be saved. No, I'm saying that if you want to follow Jesus, it also requires work. It requires commitment. It requires sacrifice. It requires you doing things that otherwise, without Jesus, you wouldn't have done. Jesus doesn't work in the way of, take all of his disciples, for example. They didn't continue doing what they were doing before Jesus. Jesus changed their lives.
Yeah.
They were completely transformed. They continued to follow Jesus after they made that commitment. They continued to follow Jesus until death, and it looked much different than their life before Jesus.
Yeah.
So a transformation is obviously something that happens whenever we decide, okay, we're in this thing, we're going to follow Jesus.
You know, when you say works, something just popped in my head. You know Rich Mullins, right?
Yeah.
Probably my favorite songwriter of all time. He's got a song called Screen Door. So it's faith without works is like a song you can't sing. It's about as useless as a screen door in a submarine. And it's a catchy little ditty, and it's fun to listen. It's just a fun song, but it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so absolutely true. You know, there's a difference between believing and following, but there's definitely a difference between
100%.
believing and working too. So I love the fact that he did that. Sorry.
I'm going to turn this back over to you, man. I'm just going to finish this because this is the whole point I was making. Jesus loved everybody. His love is for everybody to this day. But then you take somebody like Judas, who was in the fold. Jesus loved him. He broke bread with Jesus. Jesus washed his feet. Think about that. And Judas betrays Jesus.
Yeah.
The reason that I'm saying this is because whenever Judas betrays Jesus and they come to arrest him, Peter wanted to kill these guys.
Yeah.
Cuts off a dude's ear. Jesus does what? Says, hold on, hold your sword back. Heals the guy's ear. And he willingly follows them unto death. Because at the end of the day, if we're being persecuted for our faith, right? It's one thing if somebody is walking into this establishment and I've got a duty to defend this establishment. I'm going to.
Sure.
I'm going to defend good from evil. If that has to happen in a physical way, it will. But first and foremost, if we're operating the way that we should, being followers of Christ, we should be carrying power with us to where people know that's not just in words only, that's in action. That person is a follower of Jesus. That person walks with that kind of power that Jesus himself spoke about, that it's greater if I go to my Father for you, because he's going to send power, right? Well, the whole point that I'm making, I'm not going to get stuck in the weeds because I could talk about a lot of this stuff for a long time, and that's not the point. The point is this. It's very obvious that so many things are continuing to successfully divide this country on both sides of the aisle. I could see the enemy, the devil, his greatest tactic be to take what's happened in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death with all of these people that have turned their attention to God. And then some news break, oh, it was an inside job. And then everybody say, oh, these were all fake. These were all fanatics. These Christians, we told you, these guys are crazy. We don't believe in any of this stuff. Well, at the end of the day, you know why it wouldn't surprise me if it was an inside job? Is because Charlie clearly was truly a man who stood on faith with convictions. How easy would it be for there to have been a Judas?
Sure.
In his midst, because he didn't just have 12 people in the organization of Turning Point.
Mm-hmm.
If Jesus had a Judas, it's very possible for somebody like Charlie to have had a Judas. And we need to understand what that means. It means it's not time to be up in arms and turn away from the faith and say, this is fake, this is not real. It's even more important for us to realize he still died for a reason. It's because he had real conviction, real faith, and he was doing everything that he could to lead people to the saving grace that is found in following Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That is the only thing. If we continue to look at this from that lens, that is the only way that there can be unity in this country and over any topic. Nothing else is going to bring unity like the truth of the Holy Bible.
Amen. So well said and so spot on. It's interesting. I'm sitting over here and as you're talking about this stuff, my brain goes in different directions. I'm sitting here thinking about names. Do you know a Judas? You ever met a Judas?
I haven't. I don't think so.
It's interesting.
Maybe a Judah.
Judah, yeah. I've met a Judah. I've met a Josiah. But I've never met a Judas. And I'm sitting over here going, I've never met an Adolf either. It's weird how a name can carry. So, oh, your God is not real. Jesus isn't real. Well, I don't know a Judas. So, like, if nothing else, if you don't believe that, then the story of Judas has been able to prevail for a couple thousand years, and we've never used the name Judas. And that's a cool name. Like, Judas, like, what's your name? Judas. Like, oh, man, I don't know. That, like, just resonates with me. That's a cool name. Adolf, not so cool. But nobody's running around naming their kid Adolf either. So, atrocity stands the test of time. Plenty of kids are still people are naming their kids Jeffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's not naming their kid Jeffrey. And that dude ate like 20 people. He was a cannibal. He was like barbecuing people. Nobody's like, it's just Jeffrey. That's a cool name. I mean, it's just weird how the magnitude of Adolf Hitler and Judas, one a very private act, one a very public act, both carry the weight of that name never gets repeated in history except for in reference of historical fact. It's just, I don't know. That just hit me.
Yeah.
Not trying to be funny about it. It just was like, I just don't know a Judas. I've never seen anybody that's named Judas. So, I guess I've jumped emotionally about 2% up over my normal tone today because of what's happening in society. Some of it had to do with the past couple of weeks of people I've been talking to. Some of it has to do with just it's happening. But, you brought it back to a measure of this is where we should be in Christ-centered. At the end of the day, man, I can't stress it enough right now. It's easy to get caught up in this stuff. I definitely want to bring this conversation back to the Charlie Kirk thing at some point as we move forth. I want to dig into it more. I don't know what I don't know, but I know what I'm reading. I know what I've seen on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at a 1.5 in research. So I'm definitely going to dive into it more, but I don't like what I'm seeing. And it's not some conspiracy theory thing. I don't like what I'm seeing physically. So that bothers me. I definitely want to dig into it because I think the ramifications are huge, absolutely huge if this is the case. But that being said, what we are doing on the Daily Carry I hope we're doing, I feel like we're doing, I want to be doing if we're not, but I think we are. That is not only exemplifying what we stand for, what we do, talking about it and showcasing it, but also a call to action. I think it's really, really important for people to understand that Springfield sitting right there is because the world's gone cold. The tourniquet sitting in my bag is if I roll up on a trauma situation, I need to stop a bleed. The Bible is for my soul, my salvation. The knife I open packages with, I carry it on my person. I use it 10, 15 times a day. I've never had to stab a single human being in my life with my knife to defend myself, but I have it. I've never physically killed anybody with a gun, but I haven't. But there's been plenty of people that I've not opened a Bible with, as well as not using those weapons. I've not used the Bible when I needed to. And that is something that I can use on a regular basis. I teach self-defense. I teach tactics. I teach striking. I teach some degree of martial arts. I teach firearms. I teach people how to better themselves physically, defend themselves. But am I incorporating the scripture in at the exact same time? And if I've got a call to action, that's my call to action. If I'm going to end this podcast on one note for the world to hear, I've been going through my own transformation as of late. And if somebody's sitting out there going, oh, wait a second, you've been talking about all this stuff for years and years and years and doing it. Yeah, no, but you're also growing. And one of the things that I've grown in, learned, sometimes comes from the school of hard knocks. Most things are learned through bad mistakes or choices or just things that you did well intended. You go, oh, that didn't go the way I thought at all. Because if every decision was good, right? First of all, it'd be pretty incredible if all my decisions were great, but they're not. And you learn from your mistakes and your choices. So I'm learning right now, and I started to go into the Africa thing, and then I drifted away. Forgive me, my brain goes in different places. I'm going to go back to it real quick, and then I'll close. When I was in Africa, the reason I said I've been going through a bit of a transformation that started right before Africa, and it hit me in Africa, it's seeing the rawness, it's seeing the reality, it's seeing the magnitude of it. It's having an elephant standing in front of you, flapping its ears, getting ready to charge you, or a giraffe as you're driving down your driveway to go to your house that won't move out of the way, and he just stands there. And then you get out of the car and you look at him, and he'll eat leaves right out of your hands. The magnitude of God's creations when I was there were awesome. But that view, I wish I could have captured it. I only had my silly phone picture sitting, looking over. I was in that pool, looking over that. Literally, there's wire 2 feet in front of me to keep the animals from coming in, and I'm looking out at the bush. And to my right is an epic storm coming, and to the left, the sun is setting, and all of the animals moving around at the same time. I wish I could have captured a massive panoramic of that, but it was awe-inspiring. It was like God in the moment. It was one of those moments where I was like, okay, there is no doubt, and I'm not saying this to be funny, Bible thumpy, preachy. That was one of the at a handful of my entire life, God moments that I go, this is beyond my imagination right now. I could not have put all of this together in one visual, and yet I'm sitting here living it physically. And I wish I could translate that for people. I wish people could see that and understand the presence of God in me. Now, I know people experience God in different ways, and they experience a lot of different things in different ways that I can't relate to, but that for me was my moment. And it really hit me for the rest of the vacation while we were there and coming back. What is my purpose? What is my purpose for my family? What is my purpose for my career, my life, my businesses, my wife, my kids, my faith journey? But right now, on an epic level of my prioritization chart is this podcast, the circle of men, and the group that we're getting ready to launch as we've been patiently doing this, and then what's happening as we carry out. Because I think the world is changing forevermore. If I didn't put enough of an exclamation point on it, I'm going to say it right now. We are never going to see what we once had. It is forever changed. I absolutely, unequivocally know that we are headed, every part of me knows that we are headed in a bad direction when it comes to social communication, what we're seeing, what we can take in, what we consume, how we can handle it, and being fatigued. And until the world wakes up, we're just going to keep running at light speed towards it. And so it comes down to these things right here, these one-offs, these conversations, these men's groups, these small pockets of things. Jesus was followed by 12, betrayed by 1. We're going to have naysayers. You just said it a second ago. I could see this thing happening in the Charlie Kirk TP USA deal. I could too. Not because I want a rabbit trail there, not because I want to believe it, but because I can see it, because I've watched it happen enough. And I go, well, let's just think about historically, Jesus and Judas. Who betrayed him? The closest to him. Who's betrayed me in my life? My family, the closest ones to me.
Yeah.
My parents, my grandparents. I can tell you who hasn't: my son, my daughter, and my wife. And so protect them at all cost. And that's becoming more mission-centric for me. Even though it was always there, it's just becoming more and more mission-centric for me in every avenue of my life. And knowing what to cut out, that's a big piece as well, knowing what to remove. And so I'm measuring myself in all those things. So that's my closure for today's podcast. I think this has been good. I think it's been needed. I think we need to continue on in these types of discussions, keeping what's in those pages centered right now, because without that, we got nothing. We have absolutely nothing, and I think we've proven that today. And if we haven't, then I've done a poor job. But it's out there, and it's bad. And I hate to live there. I want to live in the good. I want to live in the positive, but I know the war is coming. And if I've got Joe Rogan, of all people, sitting out going, I'm understanding this Christian faith now, I'm understanding Jesus a little bit more, and he's starting to see that there's a potential, I say, civil war coming, not blue on gray, but ideologies. Yeah, we could be in some tough times coming ahead. And it's scary that we're even talking about it, but yet everywhere I turn, it's right in my face, and you can't ignore it anymore.
It's true, but it's okay. I'll be preachy for just a second. Jesus is the answer.
Yeah.
I'll let you close this out, sir.
All right. Father God, settle my heart, my internals, and just allow me to do not only your will, but what I just know is right, and to stand strong in the face of evil, to call it what it is, to be steadfast, but at the exact same time loving, to showcase the very thing that we are called to do. And out of faith, hope, and love, the greatest of these is love. And I am doing my level best. I am asking for encouragement from my brothers around me to help lift me up so that I can do that even better. But at the same time, discernment, wisdom, and the truth, and not miss what is coming at us, so that we handle it in a way that both edifies and loves, but also calls to action to stand in that face when evil is presented. So I ask that you'd be, as always, with Jared and his family, all that is going on that we have here, and I'd ask that you be with my bride, my son, and my daughter today. It's in your son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. All right.
All right.
Till next time.
Till next.